What are the roles in occult families? Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Occult Families How to Spot Them series. Trigger warning, this video series covers disturbing and very serious topics. Full legal disclaimer in the video description below. Let's talk about roles. Not jobs, not personalities, not even patterns. In occult families, roles are assigned. You don't grow into them. You don't choose them. You're selected and shaped into them based on your energy signature, your birth order, your perceived threat to the system, or your utility to the agenda. These roles are not casual or unconscious. They are strategic placements, reinforced through ritual, repetition, trauma, rewards, and spiritual binding. Unlike in typical dysfunctional family systems where psychological roles evolve over time based on personality or parent-child dynamics, occult family roles are ritual positions. They are tethered to metaphysical operations, soul contracts, lineage continuity, power structures, energy harvesting systems. This isn't just about favoritism, it's about controlling energetic flow. Let's start with the most misunderstood role, the scapegoat. In an occult family, the scapegoat is not just the black sheep. They are the emotional and spiritual filtration system. The scapegoat carries the collective pain, the shadow energy, the unresolved ancestral guilt. Their suffering purifies the rest of the system. This role is usually assigned to the child who sees too much, feels too deeply, or won't play along. Often highly gifted or spiritually attuned, the scapegoat is seen as a threat, so the family projects all dysfunction onto them. Every breakdown, betrayal, or energetic imbalance gets blamed on this one soul, because in doing so, the rest of the system can continue its performance of perfection. But here's the real danger of being the scapegoat. If you try to break free, the entire system collapses. That's why the resistance to your healing is so intense. They need you to stay sick, so they don't have to face themselves. Your exit is their exposure. Now let's look at the golden child, sometimes also called the vessel. This is the one chosen to carry the family's image. Not just the image of success or goodness, but the ritual lineage itself. The golden child is programmed to perform perfection. In public, they are intelligent, charming, high-achieving. But in private, they are often disconnected from their true identity, trapped in a constant state of self-monitoring. Their value comes from compliance. If they start to question, the praise is withdrawn. In some systems, the golden child is groomed for inheritance, not financial, but spiritual. They are made to carry the rituals, the secrets, or the crown of continuation. But don't assume the golden child has it easy. Their cage is just gilded. Many grow up to become psychologically split, performative, or loyal to an illusion. The deepest risk is that they never get free, because the system makes them believe they are its favorite. And when you believe you're the favorite, you don't question the cost. Then there's the enforcer. This one is critical in occult systems. The enforcer is the internal police force. It may be a parent, but it's often a sibling, aunt, or cousin trained to spiritually, emotionally, or even physically keep others in line. They are rewarded for punishing the rebel. They may ridicule the scapegoat, pressure the vessel, or spy on everyone else. Sometimes they're brutal. Sometimes they're subtle. A helper who gaslights you until you surrender. In ritual systems, the enforcer is often connected to direct abuse. They play roles in ceremonies. They witness harm. They may replicate it in private. The goal is to make enforcement feel like loyalty. The tragedy of the enforcer is that they are usually trauma-bonded to the very system they protect. Many were once victims themselves, but instead of breaking free, they became a weapon. Next is the spy, also called the informant. This role is often hidden in plain sight. The sibling who listens and reports, the cousin who calls your parent when you say too much, the family friend who acts concerned but repeats your words out of context. The spy is trained to gather intelligence. Their job is to maintain the illusion by collecting any data that could break it. And here's what makes them dangerous. They often appear as safe. They're the one you vent to, the one who pretends to believe you, until the next family gathering when your words come back twisted. Many survivors find out years later that someone close to them was never a confidant, but a plant. In high-level occult families, this spy role can even extend into therapy, dating, or online communication. They will send someone to be your friend, just to monitor how close you are to waking up. Then we have the psychic battery. This is the one whose energy is constantly drained to power the system. You may have been this child if you were constantly exhausted, always too sensitive, prone to illness or emotional dysregulation without clear cause. You weren't weak. You were being spiritually siphoned. Psychic batteries are typically high-vibrational souls born into dense systems. Their life force is strong, so the family binds them early through rituals, fear, and contracts. The battery is used to energize the vessel, stabilize the enforcer, or power collective rituals. And the more they suffer, the more energy is harvested. The signs? You feel empty after family contact. You dread holidays. You sense your own creative energy being hijacked after a conversation. Psychic batteries are often unaware this is happening until they go no contact and suddenly start to heal. That's when they realize their energy was never theirs alone. It was feeding something. Another role you'll see often is the timeline blocker. This person exists to delay your destiny. They might be a parent who means well, but always discourages your intuition. A partner who causes chaos every time you make progress. A sibling who shows up only when you're about to launch something new. These are not random disruptions. They are energetic saboteurs placed by the system to slow your soul's evolution. Often, they are not conscious of their role. They just happen to pull you off course whenever you're about to rise. Timeline blockers show up during initiations, birthdays, breakthroughs, creative surges. And the test is not to fix them, but to recognize the pattern and remove the access. Now here's something critical to understand. These roles can switch. If someone rebels, the system reorganizes. A former vessel can become the scapegoat. An enforcer who breaks rank may be sacrificed. A psychic battery who escapes must be replaced. That's why it often feels like musical chairs, but with trauma. Everyone is bound in place unless someone breaks the pattern. And when that happens, the system panics, because roles are not just about people, they're about control. These roles are reinforced in 1,000 invisible ways. Guilt, rewards, special treatment, rituals, repeated language, family scripts like, "You've always been the smart one," or "You're just too emotional." These are not compliments. They're bindings. And the biggest lie? That love is conditional on the role. Because in occult systems, you are not loved, you are used. Your compliance is what earns you peace. Your silence is what earns you safety. But it's not real peace, and it's not real love. It's just the absence of punishment. So how do you break free? First, you name the role. Not with shame, but with clarity. I was cast as the scapegoat. I was groomed to be the vessel. I was used as the psychic battery. When you name it, you start to unbind it. Second, you study the system. Understand the dynamics. See the contracts. Energetic, psychological, and sometimes literal. Because what's written in ritual can be unwritten in awareness. Third, you revoke the performance. That may mean going low contact, setting boundaries, or disrupting the role you've always played. You may feel like you're betraying someone. You're not. You're releasing yourself. And finally, you heal the wound that let you believe the role was your identity. Because that's the real trap. Once you realize you were never the part you were cast in, the entire script starts to fall apart. If you've played a role in your family system, it wasn't your fault. But it is your responsibility to exit the stage. The roles are real. The harm is deep. But the story can end differently. The moment you stop performing and start remembering who you really are. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start. The black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child, and how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the goat, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.